Welcome everyone! I'm What the Hero, and remember how I said that during the next few weeks we're gonna go back and read my older videos? Well, the next few weeks part, as you probably already guessed, I won't be able to do. And also, the remaking part will actually take more time than I thought, so instead, while I get myself together, why don't we talk about a game I really did not like for a long time? What game? Well, I speak of none other than the open world action RPG The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, seeing this game's fame, I probably won't need to go over who made this and all that, but just for consistency's sake, The Witcher 3 was developed and published by CD Projekt Red for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC in May of 2015. Now, as for why I didn't like this game for a long time, I honestly just grew tired of the endless praise it got. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and here we are. The game follows Geralt of Rivia on his quest to find and save his adoptive daughter Ciri from the Wild Hunt. Of course, this proves to be not so straightforward as one would want it to be, but it is what it is. Also, while I'm not sure if this has a better place in gameplay or this, it does seem like you can make some minor changes in the story depending on how you speak to people and what you do. The game has a good bit of customization, as you can change Geralt's clothes, though these have stats, you can cut his hair and beard, and of course, as RPGs are, you have skill trees. Going back to beards for a bit before we move on, the game has a dynamic beard growth mechanic, though beard size seems to cap out at around 2 or 3 in-game days. As for what you can do with customization, I think this clip should be a satisfactory explanation.
Witcher, I was hoping you'd come.
Because?
I've something to tell you, but I'll do so afterwards. As you expire.
To move on to other things, the combat has improved since 2, and now, along with your richer magic, bombs and 2 swords, you also get to use a crossbow. Though you will have to choose between using bombs or the crossbow, as they use up the same slot in combat. To move into traversal, another big aspect of the game, I have to talk about Geralt's trusty steed, Roach, who will come and take you places once you whistle for him, except when he is busy hugging trees. Also be aware that Roach evaporates when he comes in contact with water deeper than his legs or so. Roach also has a fear meter that goes up when you come in contact with monsters. I tell you what it does exactly, but I don't think I ever had it go up to the max. Though I've gotta assume he does something like throwing you off and running away. Equipping him with better saddles can increase his stamina, and you can also put blinders on him to make the fear meter go up slower as well as buying pouches to hang on him to increase your carry capacity. For other forms of traversal, you have fast travel, which works a lot like the sewers in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. As in, you can only fast travel between points where you find them. That being said, they're different in that you only have to find them, you don't need to pay a fee to have them repaired. Ooh, which reminds me, your equipment degrades with use, so you will have to go and have it repaired every once in a while. While I still don't like this mechanic, at least the game didn't go overboard with it like so many others do and have you go and repair your stuff every 5 minutes. If something of yours gets badly damaged, they won't be as effective as when they're not, as you could have probably guessed. Them being badly damaged will be shown on an indicator on screen, that will be there until you actually go and repair it or switch it out. To go back to the Witcher magic and skill trees for a bit, the skill trees can also change the way your magic behaves, with things like Axii being able to control people and Igni turning from a burst of ember into an ember thrower. And speaking of skill trees, the game has an interesting version of them. The skill tree is cut into 5 tabs, as well as 12 plus 4 slots. First, the tabs. Skills are categorized as belonging to either combat, magic, alchemy, and general. You also have a tab for mutagens, we will come back to these later. The first 3 I would assume are self-explanatory. As for what general skills are, they're things like having more carry capacity, having food effects last longer, and being able to just use up your adrenaline points for magic once you run out of stamina. As for the 12 plus 4 slots, just unlocking skills isn't enough. You actually have to equip them into these slots. You can also equip different kinds of mutagen to increase their effect. But these are color coded, so they can only be boosted by skills of the same color. General skills also can't boost anything, so if you get those, just know that the additional 1 mutagen you can assign to the slot won't reach its full potential. As for mutagens, they are things that you pick off of monsters that can give you permanent buffs to either attack, magic or health. And speaking of alchemy, what is it? Well, the game has 2 different types of crafting in place. One lets you make weapons and armor, while the other is for potions and oils. The first one is just called crafting, and you can only do it at blacksmiths and armorers, while the other is called alchemy and you can do it yourself. How these types work is pretty much exactly the same. You find out the recipes for whatever it is that you want to make, gather the ingredients shown, which you can do multiple ways, by which I mean that you can just buy things and you can also go looking around for the ingredients yourself. Once these steps are done, if you want to make oils and potions, you just need to go to the alchemy tab in the menu and do it. If it's weapons or armor, you haul ass over to the nearest blacksmith or armorer and they do it for a sum. And speaking of sums, the game has 3 types of money you can find, though only crowns are used as a form of currency. So if you find the other 2, these being orange and the other one which I don't remember but sounds exactly the same, you can go to the bank and exchange them for crowns. I'm not sure of the exchange rate, but if I remember correctly, I got around 110 crowns for 50 orange or so. To move on to wisher contracts, you find these on notice boards, where once you take the notice, you trigger the quest to start. Usually at the start of these missions, you can try and haggle for more money to flow your way once everything's said and done. Though asking for a sum too big will annoy people, and if you annoy them too much, they will just call off the whole thing. For doing these missions, you will get the agreed upon sum of money, as well as a trophy to put on Roach, which will have passive effects on you, such as 5% more experience against monsters and 10% more chance to dismember. You might also get a new weapon out of these here and there. I don't have much to say here, to be quite honest, because I'm usually not the graphics person, so I guess I'll just say this. The game looks awesome. The game's music sets the atmosphere of what it wants to convey perfectly. Though if I'd have to complain, I'd say that sometimes the ambient music was a bit too much. But then sometimes I do whole playthroughs of games without their music on, so I might be the problem here. So in conclusion, do I think I was wrong about The Witcher 3 saying that it's overhyped garbage? Well, yes and no. I wouldn't say it's garbage, but I'd certainly say that it's at least a bit overhyped. Does that make it a bad game? No. Especially since the game is good after all, it's just not the best game ever released. But then, what do I think of the game on a more score-based perspective? Well, I think the fighting system got a lot better, Geralt became a better character and the game is a huge improvement over 2. But the movement is still not exactly as fluid as I'd want it to be, and dealing with Roach and or his absence can be annoying at times. That being said, to move on to the score, I think it's fair if I give this game a 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that, goodbye.